The Color Purple, by Alice Walker. About the author. Alice Walker is a prominent American author, poet, and activist, best known for her groundbreaking novel The Color Purple, 1982, which earned her the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction and the National Book Award for Fiction in 1983. She is recognized for her eloquent advocacy on issues of race, gender, and social justice, as well as her exploration of African American culture and history. Walker's early work includes poetry collections such as Once and Revolutionary Petunias and other poems, as well as her first novel, The Third Life of Grange Copeland. Her literary work is often centered around themes of race, gender, and the lives of African American women. She explores the intersections of these identities and the challenges faced by her characters. In addition to her acclaimed novel The Color Purple, Walker's other novels include Meridian and Possessing the Secret of Joy. She has also written several collections of essays and short stories, such as In Search of Our Mother's Gardens, Womanist Prose and You Can't Keep a Good Woman Down. Walker's work has had a significant impact on American literature, particularly in terms of her exploration of the experiences of African American women. Her novels and essays continue to be studied for their contributions to discussions on race, gender, and intersectionality. The Color Purple has been adapted into a successful film directed by Steven Spielberg and a Tony Award-winning Broadway musical, further cementing its cultural and literary importance. Walker's influence extends beyond literature. She is a key figure in the history of Black feminism and the womanist movement, and her work continues to inspire discussions on the complexities of identity and the pursuit of social justice. Significance of the title. The title of Alice Walker's, The Color Purple, holds significant symbolic meaning, deeply intertwined with the novel's central themes and emotional landscape. The title not only invokes the color itself but also serves as a metaphor for the experiences, growth, and transformations of the characters, particularly the protagonist, Celie. In the novel, purple represents the beauty of the natural world, which Celie learns to observe and appreciate over time. This sense of wonder and beauty is something that Celie, in her early letters to God, seems almost incapable of noticing due to the harshness of her life circumstances. Her gradual awareness of beauty, symbolized by the color purple, mirrors her journey toward self-discovery and empowerment. Shug Avery, a pivotal character in Celie's life, teaches her that, "It pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field somewhere and don't notice it." This line underscores the importance of recognizing and valuing the beauty in the world, suggesting that such appreciation is integral to honoring one's existence and spirituality. Purple is also traditionally associated with suffering and bruising. This dual symbolism reflects the painful experiences that Celie and other characters endure. The novel does not shy away from depicting the severe abuse and injustice that Celie suffers from both her father and husband. Yet, as the narrative progresses, the significance of purple shifts more toward a celebration of beauty and resilience rather than merely a reminder of suffering. Purple has long been a color associated with royalty and spirituality. In the context of the novel, these associations underscore Celie's transformation from a downtrodden, abused individual to a woman who reigns over her own life with dignity and strength. Her spiritual journey is also highlighted by this symbolism, as she moves from a conventional, fear-based view of God to a more expansive, loving, and personalized spirituality. The color purple ultimately symbolizes transformation. Celie's ability to see and appreciate the color purple signifies her growth from a life of oppression to one of self-awareness and empowerment. The development of her identity and self-worth parallels her recognition of the color purple, a symbol of something rare, often unnoticed, but inherently remarkable. The title, The Color Purple, therefore, encapsulates key thematic elements of the novel: the importance of beauty, the presence of pain, the attainment of spiritual and personal sovereignty, and the journey toward a self-defined life. It prompts readers to consider how often beauty and value exist in everyday experiences, urging a deeper appreciation for moments and elements of life that might easily be overlooked. This symbolism extends a powerful message about resilience and redemption, key aspects of Celie's narrative arc. Summary of the novel: The Color Purple. The Color Purple, by Alice Walker, is an epistolary novel set in the early 20th century, which focuses on the life of Celie, an African-American woman living in the South. The novel spans several decades of Celie's life, capturing her struggles, growth, and eventual triumph over personal and societal oppression. The novel begins with Celie's letters to God, in which she reveals her experiences of abuse. At just 14, Celie is sexually abused by her father, Alfonso, who later gives away her two children. Believing her mother to be dead, Celie is then married off to a man she refers to as Mr. or Albert, who is also abusive. Albert originally wanted to marry Celie's younger sister, Nettie, but their father refused. Nettie escapes Alfonso's house to live with Celie and Albert, but when Albert makes sexual advances towards her, Nettie leaves. She promises to write to Celie, but Celie never receives any letters, leading her to believe that Nettie is dead. Unbeknownst to Celie, Albert has been hiding Nettie's letters from her. Things begin to change when Shug Avery, a beautiful and independent singer, comes to town. Albert is in love with Shug and brings her to live with them when she becomes ill. Celie is initially tasked with caring for Shug, but soon develops a deep and loving relationship with her. Shug becomes Celie's mentor and friend, eventually helping her to stand up for herself and awaken to her own desires and strengths. It is through Shug that Celie learns her sister Nettie is alive and has been writing letters to her, which Albert had been hiding for years. Nettie's letters reveal that she has been living in Africa as a missionary with Samuel and Corinne, a couple she met after fleeing from Albert's house. Nettie describes her observations of colonial impact on the Alinka people, and her letters provide a stark contrast to Celie's life, filled with insights into racial and cultural identity. Encouraged by Shug and emboldened by the letters from Nettie, Celie confronts Albert about his abuse and leaves him, moving to Memphis with Shug. In Memphis, she starts a successful business making pants, which symbolizes her newfound independence and rejection of traditional gender roles. Albert, left alone, undergoes his own transformation, eventually becoming a friend to Celie. Meanwhile, Celie reconciles with her sister Nettie and learns that her father was actually her stepfather. Her real father was lynched by white men, and her mother died in despair. The land and house that Celie thought belonged to her stepfather actually belonged to her, giving her a financial and emotional homecoming. The climax of the novel occurs when Nettie, Samuel, and Celie's children return to Georgia from Africa. The reunion is only possible after the death of Albert's father, who had been a significant barrier in their lives. The novel ends with Celie, surrounded by her family and friends, content and at peace, having reconciled with many of the people who hurt her, including Albert. The Color Purple explores the transformation of Celie from a silenced, oppressed woman into someone who owns her voice in her life. It is a tale of overcoming severe adversity through sisterhood, solidarity, and personal strength. The novel addresses complex themes such as racial and gender oppression, the importance of finding one's voice, and the redemptive power of love and family. Critical analysis of the novel, The Color Purple. The Color Purple, published in 1982 by Alice Walker, is a significant work in American literature, recognized for its profound impact on issues of race, gender, and social structure. The novel is famous for its emotional depth, vivid characters, and eloquent advocacy of feminism and racial equality. It was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction and the National Book Award for Fiction in 1983, affirming its importance and influence. The novel is structured through a series of letters, primarily written by the protagonist, Celie, to God, and later to her sister, Nettie. This epistolary form creates an intimate, confessional quality that allows readers direct access to Celie's thoughts and feelings. This structure also effectively voices the personal and societal issues faced by African American women in the early 20th century American South. Walker's use of African American Vernacular English (AAVE) lends authenticity to her characters, grounding their experiences in a specific cultural and linguistic context. The Color Purple addresses several overarching themes, including the struggle for self-identity, the resilience of women, the importance of sisterhood, and the challenge of overcoming oppressive social structures. Celie's character arc, from a subdued and abused individual to an independent and self-affirming woman, illustrates a broader commentary on gender and power dynamics. Her relationships with other women, notably Shug Avery and Sophia, play crucial roles in her awakening and empowerment. These relationships are portrayed as sources of mutual support and catalysts for personal growth and resistance against patriarchal control. The novel does not shy away from the harsh realities of racism. It portrays the additional layer of discrimination faced by African American women, both within and outside their communities. However, the narrative also shows characters navigating and sometimes overcoming these barriers, thereby offering a nuanced exploration of race in America. Walker explores the complexities of sexual identity and orientation, depicting both heterosexual and homosexual relationships with empathy and depth. The novel's treatment of love transcends conventional boundaries, advocating a form of love that is inclusive and liberating. Celie's letters to God reflect her evolving understanding of spirituality, which moves from a traditional, patriarchal conception of God to a more personal and pantheistic view. This transformation mirrors her journey toward self-realization and empowerment. While widely acclaimed, The Color Purple has also faced criticism and controversy. Some critics, including prominent African American scholars and community leaders, have argued that Walker's portrayal of black men is overly negative and reinforces damaging stereotypes. These characters are often depicted as abusive and oppressive, which critics claim could perpetuate a monolithic and negative image of black masculinity. However, defenders of the novel argue that Walker simply portrays the reality of her characters' lives and highlights issues within specific social contexts that need to be addressed. The color purple has left a lasting mark on literature and popular culture. It challenged the conventions of the time by cantering women's experiences and voices, particularly those of black women, in a narrative about oppression, resilience, and empowerment. Its adaptation into a film directed by Steven Spielberg and a successful Broadway musical underscore its broad appeal and its ability to resonate with diverse audiences. The Color Purple, by Alice Walker, is deeply embedded in the social and political context of the early to mid-20th century American South, reflecting broader historical realities of racial segregation, gender inequality, and systemic oppression. The novel's portrayal of these issues is nuanced and provides a critical lens through which to view the intersectionality of race, gender, and social class. The time period depicted in the novel spans from the early 1900s to the mid-1940s, a time characterized by the enforcement of Jim Crow laws in the South, which institutionalized racial segregation and disenfranchisement. African Americans faced systemic discrimination, were denied voting rights, and lived under the constant threat of violence and intimidation from white supremacist groups like the Ku Klux Klan. This backdrop is critical for understanding the social constraints and dangers that the characters navigate in their daily lives. During this period, women, particularly black women, experienced compounded layers of oppression. Dominant cultural norms prescribed severely limited roles for women in society, often confined to domestic duties. The novel exposes the harsh realities of these gender norms, showcasing the brutal physical and emotional abuse many women endured in silence. Walker emphasizes the double burden carried by black women, who dealt with both racial and gender oppression. A significant historical event during the timeframe of The Color Purple is the Great Migration, which saw millions of African Americans move from the rural southern United States to urban centers in the North and West, seeking better economic opportunities and escaping the oppressive social conditions of the Jim Crow South. This migration is reflected in the novel through characters like Harpo, who moves to the north, and through discussions of other characters considering or dreaming of a life outside the South. The subplot involving Nettie and her missionary work in Africa connects the African American experience with the colonial experience of Africans. It provides a commentary on imperialism and cultural identity, exploring the complexities of heritage and belonging for African Americans. Alice Walker's use of language in The Color Purple is particularly significant. She employs African American Vernacular English (AAVE), a linguistic style that reflects the cultural, regional, and social identities of the characters. The use of AAVE helps to authenticate the voices of the characters, grounding their experiences in a specific socio-linguistic context. It also serves as a form of resistance against dominant cultural narratives that often marginalized dialects spoken by African American communities. The novel's structure is a series of letters written by Celie, and later Nettie, to God and each other allows for an intimate glimpse into the protagonist's emotional and intellectual world. The language used in these letters is simple, direct, and deeply personal, which emphasizes Celie's initial naivety and the profound transformations she undergoes. Walker uses color symbolism throughout the novel, most notably the color purple, which represents beauty, pain, and growth. The novel's title itself symbolizes a celebration of beauty and resilience in spite of harsh circumstances. In conclusion, Alice Walker's The Color Purple is a deeply influential work that combines rich character development, emotional depth, and poignant commentary on gender, race, and identity. Its critical reception reflects its complexity and the intensity of the issues it explores. Through its narrative, the novel encourages a reconsideration of personal and societal values, making it a pivotal work in discussions of social justice and literature. The language and structure of The Color Purple not only tell a powerful story but also challenge the literary norms of the time, making a significant statement about whose voices are valued and heard in literature. This linguistic approach aligns with the broader social and political themes of the novel, emphasizing the importance of voice and visibility in the struggle for justice and equality. Themes. The Color Purple, by Alice Walker, is a complex and rich novel that addresses multiple interwoven themes, including the struggle for identity, the power of sisterhood, gender and sexual oppression, the importance of spirituality, and the impact of racism and colonialism. These themes are explored primarily through the experiences of the protagonist, Celie, as well as the supporting characters who impact her life. Gender and sexual oppression. The novel exposes the brutality of male domination through the experiences of Celie and other female characters. Celie's life is marked by abuse at the hands of her father and husband, highlighting the pervasive patriarchal structures that silence and oppress women. Over the course of the novel, Celie, along with characters like Shug Avery and Sophia, overcome the constraints of male control and find strength in their own identities. The story illustrates how they break free from traditional roles and assert their autonomy. Celie's journey of self-discovery extends to her sexuality. Her relationship with Shug allows her to explore her sexuality and challenge traditional gender and sexual norms, ultimately finding love and intimacy with another woman. Sisterhood and female solidarity. The novel places a strong emphasis on the power of female relationships, which provide emotional support and encouragement. Celie's relationship with her sister, Nettie, is a driving force for her survival and resilience. Shug Avery plays a key role in Celie's transformation, teaching her self-love, independence, and encouraging her to break away from Albert's control. Sophia, a strong and defiant character, also demonstrates resilience and bravery in the face of male authority. Racism and racial identity. The novel is set in the early 20th century American South, a time and place marked by Jim Crow laws and systemic racism. African Americans faced significant challenges, including segregation, violence, and discrimination. Nettie's letters provide insight into her experiences as a missionary in Africa, connecting the African American experience to African culture and colonialism. This aspect of the story broadens the novel's perspective on race and highlights the complexities of identity and heritage. Spirituality and religious transformation. Initially, Celie's letters to God reflect a traditional and distant understanding of God as a figure of authority and fear. As she matures, her spirituality evolves into a more personal and intimate relationship with a God who is present in all things. Through Shug's influence, Celie's view of God becomes more expansive and pantheistic, emphasizing the presence of God in all aspects of nature, including the color purple. This transformation reflects Celie's journey toward self-awareness and independence. Identity and self-discovery. The novel follows Celie's journey from a voiceless, oppressed girl to a confident and independent woman. Through her relationships with other women and her gradual self-discovery, she gains a sense of identity and self-worth. Celie's creativity, particularly in making pants, becomes a means of self-expression and liberation. This creative outlet allows her to reclaim her sense of identity and find economic independence. Redemption and forgiveness. Throughout the novel, Albert is portrayed as a harsh and controlling figure. However, by the end of the story, he undergoes a transformation, becoming a more empathetic and humbler person. Celie's ability to reconcile with him symbolizes her own growth and capacity for forgiveness. The novel ends with a sense of healing and closure as Celie reunites with Nettie and her children. This resolution emphasizes the power of redemption and the possibility of change. Overall, The Color Purple offers a powerful exploration of personal growth and transformation. It illuminates the struggles and triumphs of African American women, while addressing broader societal issues of race, gender, and spirituality. Through its multifaceted characters and intricate storytelling, the novel provides deep insights into the human experience. Characterization. The Color Purple, by Alice Walker, is populated with complex, multifaceted characters, each of whom contributes to the development of the novel's themes and the protagonist's journey. Let's delve into a detailed analysis of the key characters in the novel. Celie. Celie is the novel's protagonist and is introduced as a young African American girl who suffers sexual and physical abuse at the hands of her father and later her husband, Albert. She begins as a silenced, oppressed individual with little sense of self-worth. Over the course of the novel, Celie undergoes significant personal growth and transformation. Her relationships with other women, particularly Shug Avery and Sophia, and her correspondence with her sister, Nettie, inspire her to assert her independence and find her voice. Celie's journey is one of empowerment and self-discovery. She becomes a successful businesswoman and gains economic independence by designing and making pants. Her confidence grows as she learns to stand up for herself and navigate life on her own terms. Celie's understanding of God evolves throughout the novel, shifting from a traditional, distant view to a more personal, pantheistic spirituality. This transformation mirrors her own journey toward self-actualization. Despite her traumatic experiences, Celie demonstrates resilience and an ability to forgive, even reconciling with Albert by the end of the novel. Her resilience is a testament to her strength and capacity for growth. Shug Avery. Shug Avery, a confident and independent blues singer, is a pivotal character in Celie's life. She introduces Celie to new perspectives on love, spirituality, and self-worth. Shug is a complex character, known for her carefree and unconventional lifestyle. She challenges societal norms and expectations, particularly around gender and sexuality. Shug helps Celie see a different, more expansive view of God and encourages her to appreciate the beauty in the world, particularly the color purple. Shug and Celie share a deep and transformative relationship that transcends friendship and evolves into a romantic and sexual connection. This relationship is crucial to Celie's journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Albert Mr. Albert, initially referred to only as Mr. is Celie's abusive husband. He treats Celie as a servant and enforces traditional gender roles, contributing to her oppression. Over the course of the novel, Albert undergoes a significant transformation. After losing Celie and experiencing his own personal crises, he begins to change his ways and shows genuine remorse for his past actions. By the end of the novel, Albert and Celie reconcile, marking both characters' growth and the possibility of redemption. Nettie. Nettie is Celie's beloved sister, whose letters serve as a lifeline for Celie and provide her with hope and motivation throughout the novel. Their relationship symbolizes the power of sisterhood and emotional support. Nettie becomes a missionary in Africa, providing insight into colonialism and African culture. Her experiences broaden the scope of the novel and highlight the connections between African and African American experiences. Nettie's resilience and love for her sister are evident in her dedication to writing letters despite the challenges she faces. Her return to the United States at the end of the novel allows the sisters to reunite. Sophia. Sophia is a strong, independent woman who refuses to be subjugated by men or white society. Her defiance and resilience make her a significant influence on Celie. Sophia's encounter with the mayor's wife, Miss Millie, and her subsequent imprisonment highlight the racism and injustice African Americans faced. Her experience serves as a commentary on the systemic oppression of Black people in America. These characters, among others, drive the narrative and contribute to the novel's exploration of complex themes such as gender oppression, racial injustice, spiritual growth, and personal transformation. Their relationships with one another create a rich and nuanced portrait of resilience, struggle, and empowerment. Important question and answer. Q. 1. Describe Celie's relationship with Shug. How does it change? What is significant about Shug's last fling with a young man named Jermaine? Ans. Celie's relationship with Shug Avery is one of the most significant and transformative aspects of Alice Walker's The Color Purple. It evolves from a distant admiration to a deep, intimate connection that profoundly influences Celie's personal growth and empowerment. Celie first hears of Shug Avery through her husband, Albert Mr. who is in love with Shug. Celie is initially both intrigued and jealous of Shug because of her relationship with Albert and her glamorous lifestyle as a blues singer. When Shug arrives at Albert's house ill and in need of care, Celie is tasked with nursing her back to health. This initial proximity allows Celie to observe Shug more closely and gradually forms a connection with her. As Celie and Shug spend more time together, they become friends and confidants. Shug helps Celie gain confidence and teaches her about self-love, independence, and sexual liberation. Celie finds Shug's free-spirited and independent nature inspiring, which contrasts sharply with her own previous experiences of oppression and silence. Shug's influence also extends to Celie's spirituality, guiding her to a broader understanding of God and spirituality that is more personalized and intimate. Their relationship eventually becomes romantic and sexual, marking a pivotal moment in Celie's journey of self-discovery. Shug helps Celie experience intimacy and love in a way she never had before, which further bolsters Celie's confidence and independence. This romantic relationship is significant because it challenges societal norms and expectations, particularly concerning sexual orientation and the traditional roles of women. Shug's last fling with the young man named Germain is a key moment in the novel that serves to illustrate Shug's ongoing commitment to her own independence and freedom. Shug's relationship with Germain is not just a romantic escapade. It also highlights her desire to live life on her own terms and continue experiencing the world. Celie is initially hurt and disappointed by Shug's fling with Germain, as she feels a sense of abandonment and betrayal. This situation tests Celie's emotional strength and forces her to confront her feelings of dependency on Shug. Ultimately, Celie's response to Shug's fling demonstrates her growth and maturity. Instead of falling back into despair or resentment, Celie is able to come to terms with Shug's choices and accept her for who she is, a free-spirited woman who makes her own decisions. In sum, Celie's relationship with Shug plays a central role in Celie's personal development and empowerment. Their bond evolves from friendship to romantic love, and Shug's influence encourages Celie to find her own voice and independence. Shug's last fling with Germain is significant as it tests Celie's emotional resilience and marks another step in her journey toward self-sufficiency and self-acceptance. Q2. Consider the seemingly ideal world of family and friends that surrounds Celie at the end of the novel. What are the gender roles in this world like? Do you see any benefits or problems with Walker's vision? Anne's. The conclusion of Alice Walker's The Color Purple portrays a seemingly ideal world where Celie is surrounded by family and friends, suggesting a harmonious resolution to the struggles she faced throughout the novel. However, the gender roles in this world reflect the progress made by the characters, particularly Celie, in challenging traditional expectations and redefining their lives on their own terms. Let's consider the gender roles in this world and assess the benefits and potential problems with Walker's vision. By the end of the novel, Celie has established relationships that are more balanced and respectful. She reconciles with Albert, who has undergone significant personal growth and transformation, becoming humbler and more considerate. Their relationship evolves into one of mutual respect and friendship, rather than domination and submission. Celie, Sophia, and Shug Avery all embody strong, independent women who have challenged and overcome traditional gender roles throughout the novel. They pursue their own interests and express themselves freely, emphasizing autonomy and self-determination. Celie's family and friends, including Nettie, Shug, and Sophia, form a supportive community that fosters emotional and practical support for one another. This network of strong relationships helps Celie navigate life's challenges and triumphs. Walker's vision of gender roles allows women to reclaim their agency and assert their independence. This empowerment is crucial for Celie, who starts the novel as a silenced and oppressed individual but ends it as a confident, successful woman. The novel redefines relationships, particularly between men and women, emphasizing respect and mutual understanding. Albert's transformation from an abusive husband to a friend and ally of Celie is a key example of this redefinition. The sense of community and solidarity among the characters provides a model for healthy, supportive relationships. This network helps the characters navigate and overcome societal challenges, offering a hopeful vision of what can be achieved through collective resilience and mutual support. While the novel's conclusion suggests a harmonious world of family and friends, some may argue that the resolution feels too idealized given the severity of the challenges Celie and others faced throughout the story. The neatness of the ending could be seen as oversimplified or unrealistic. Although the characters experience personal growth and transformation, the novel does not fully address the systemic issues of racism, sexism, and other forms of oppression on a broader societal level. While individual empowerment is emphasized, the structural roots of these issues may persist beyond the novel's conclusion. Walker's focus on positive, empowering relationships might gloss over potential complexities and challenges within these relationships, such as the ongoing dynamics between Celie and Albert or Celie and Shug. In conclusion, while Walker's vision at the end of the novel is empowering and hopeful, suggesting a harmonious world of family and friends with redefined gender roles, there may be limitations in the portrayal of this resolution. Nevertheless, it offers an inspiring vision of what could be possible when individuals break free from traditional gender roles and support one another in a spirit of community and solidarity. Q3. What role do you think Sophia plays in the novel? Describe her character and how she contributes to the themes in the book. Ans. Sophia is a significant character in The Color Purple who plays a crucial role in advancing the novel's themes, particularly around strength, resilience, and the struggle against oppression. Sophia's character is marked by her fierce independence, defiance of traditional gender roles, and her unyielding stance against injustice. Sophia is a strong and confident woman who does not conform to the expectations of others, whether they are related to her gender or race. She possesses a sense of self-worth and resilience that contrasts sharply with Celie's initial passivity and submission. Sophia's most prominent characteristic is her refusal to submit to anyone's authority. This defiance becomes evident when she stands up to her husband, Harpo, who tries to assert control over her, and when she resists the oppressive treatment she receives from white society. Sophia's confrontation with the mayor's wife, Miss Millie, and her subsequent imprisonment after she refuses to work for Miss Millie demonstrate the harsh realities of racism and injustice faced by African Americans in the South. Her struggle serves as a sobering reminder of the dangers of challenging white authority and the enduring legacy of systemic oppression. Sophia's character embodies resilience in the face of adversity. Her strength and resistance to oppression inspire Celie to challenge her own abusive circumstances and to assert herself more confidently. Sophia's boldness and independence have a profound impact on Celie, who learns from Sophia's example to stand up for herself. Sophia's refusal to accept abuse from Harpo and her ability to navigate difficult situations provide a model for Celie to emulate. Sophia's experiences highlight the themes of racial injustice and the intersection of race and gender oppression. Her unjust treatment by the mayor and her imprisonment shed light on the harsh realities faced by African Americans in the Jim Crow South. Sophia's relationships with other characters, including Celie and Harpo, illustrate the complexities of family dynamics and the importance of sisterhood. Her interactions with Celie provide both women with opportunities for growth and understanding. Despite her struggles, Sophia is able to rebuild her life and reconcile with her husband, Harpo. This journey reflects themes of healing and forgiveness, as Sophia navigates the challenges of her circumstances while maintaining her strength and dignity. Overall, Sophia's role in the novel is pivotal in emphasizing the themes of resilience, defiance, and the struggle against racial and gender oppression. Her strength and determination provide a counterpoint to Celie's initial passivity, and her experiences underscore the systemic challenges faced by African Americans, particularly women, in the South. Q. 4. How are Celie's letters to God similar to the African American slave narratives collected in the 1930s? How are they different? Ans. Celie's letters to God in The Color Purple share certain similarities with the African American slave narratives collected in the 1930s, while also presenting some distinct differences. These narratives were collected as part of the Federal Writers Project during the Great Depression and provide first-hand accounts of the experiences of formerly enslaved individuals. Both Celie's letters and the slave narratives are written in the first person, offering personal and direct accounts of the writer's experiences. This perspective gives readers insight into the emotional and psychological impact of the writers' lives. Both Celie's letters and the slave narratives often explore themes of oppression, suffering, and survival. In both cases, the writers recount their struggles against systemic injustice and the ways in which they cope with or resist it. Both Celie's letters and the slave narratives often utilize the vernacular language and dialect of the time and place in which they are set. This language choice serves to ground the narratives in their cultural and historical context and lends authenticity to the writers' voices. Celie's letters are addressed to God, reflecting her deep religious faith, which is a common theme in many slave narratives. Faith often provided strength and solace for the enslaved and their descendants in the face of hardship. The African American slave narratives collected in the 1930s document experiences of enslavement and its aftermath, capturing a specific historical period. Celie's letters, on the other hand, are set in the early 20th century, several decades after the abolition of slavery, and explore different societal challenges and forms of oppression. Celie's letters are part of a fictional novel, whereas the slave narratives are non-fictional accounts of real experiences. While both provide valuable perspectives on the lived experiences of African Americans, one is a work of creative storytelling, and the other is a historical record. While both Celie's letters and the slave narratives deal with themes of oppression, they do so in different contexts. Celie's letters center on her personal journey of self-discovery and empowerment, with a focus on gender oppression and her relationships with other women. Slave narratives, while also touching on gender issues, primarily focus on the horrors of enslavement and the fight for freedom. Celie's letters are structured as an ongoing epistolary narrative, providing continuity in her story and character development. Slave narratives, on the other hand, vary in format and style depending on the individual writer and their particular experiences. In summary, Celie's Letters to God and the African American slave narratives collected in the 1930s share common themes of oppression, suffering, and faith, expressed through first-person narratives. However, they differ in their historical context, format, and focus, with Celie's letters exploring more personal and intimate experiences of self-discovery and empowerment, while the slave narratives primarily document the broader historical experiences of enslavement and the quest for freedom. Q. 5. Why does Sophia tell Miss Millie, "Hell no," when she offers Sophia a job as her maid? What is offensive about Miss Millie's behavior prior to Sophia's response? Sophia's response of, "Hell no," to Miss Millie when she offers Sophia a job as her maid can be understood within the context of Sophia's strong sense of self-worth and resistance to any form of subjugation. Miss Millie approaches Sophia with a sense of superiority, assuming that Sophia would be willing to work for her as a maid simply because she is a white woman offering a job to an African American. This condescension reflects the racial hierarchy and prejudice prevalent in the American South at the time. Miss Millie presumes that Sophia will accept her job offer without hesitation, taking Sophia's labor and agency for granted. This assumption is offensive because it implies that Sophia's priorities and life circumstances are secondary to Miss Millie's needs. Miss Millie's offer disregards Sophia's autonomy and personal choice. Sophia's response emphasizes her unwillingness to be treated as a subordinate or as someone who can be ordered around. Miss Millie's behavior is situated within the historical context of racial inequality and power dynamics between white and black people. Her offer perpetuates the legacy of servitude and exploitation that African Americans faced during and after slavery. Sophia is a strong and independent woman who values her dignity and self-respect. Her immediate rejection of Miss Millie's offer is a declaration of her autonomy and refusal to be subjugated to a white employer. Sophia's assertive response to Miss Millie is an act of defiance against the oppressive racial hierarchy and an assertion of her self-worth. Her resistance is significant because it challenges Miss Millie's sense of entitlement and exposes the underlying racism in her behavior.